guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of On the Couch with Fouch. Before we get going, I want to ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel here on YouTube so that way you always get the notifications when the next interview comes out. Or you can go to onthecouchwithfouch.com and sign up for the emails. Get in there. I know you're signed up, Randy.
I am.
Sure.
I never check my email. Though,
right. There you go. Hey, this is Randy Byrd. He is the bass
Randy.
singer for Mark Trammell Quartet. Randy, you've been, I don't want to make this sound bad per se, but you've been singing for quite a while, man. You've been around for a while. How many years have you been singing?
I've been singing since I was 5, but when you said you felt bad and were leading up to that question, I thought you were going to say, Randy, you have been neglected on the Couch with Fouch series.
Oh, here we go.
And so I just want to tell you, it's an honor to be here today.
Well, man, I'm so glad we finally got the opportunity to do the interview.
Before I die.
Yes, yes. And, you know, you bring up a good point. Unfortunately, I can't get everybody in for an interview.
I'm just teasing you.
I know you are.
Yeah.
And I only do one a month typically, and I can't get everybody in, but I especially enjoy interviewing bass singers, and so I'm so glad that we finally were able to make it happen. So thank you for joining me, and I hope you guys enjoy this interview. The first question out the gate was, how long have you been singing? You said you started singing when you were 5.
Actually, yes. I started singing when I was 5. My dad became a preacher when I was 5. And just through the course of that, going to church, I sang my first duet, which was 2-part unison off pitch.
Right.
But,
Yes.
That's great. No, I started singing when I was 5, just always loved music. But been singing full-time since 2004, semi-professionally since 94, though.
So I'm actually surprised by that, because 2004 is the year that I started singing. I guess it was sold out, kind of was part-time, full-time at the time, and in 2005 we kind of became full-time. So I'm surprised we've been doing it full-time for the same amount of time. I thought you had been singing a little bit longer, but that's, either way, that's awesome. I'm glad that you are doing it full-time and have been.
I actually got, this is kind of a long story, but I'll make it short as I can. When I was 17, I had an opportunity to sing with the Bob Wills family from Fort Worth, Texas. And Bob, back in the 60s, was with Bob Wills and the Inspirationals. And when I didn't go with that job, they later hired a young kid named Jeff Chapman. And so every time I saw Jeff after that, I'm like, dude, you got my job.
Did you say you're welcome?
Yeah, you know.
Just for you, man.
I love Jeff to death, but I'm a little bitter over that. No, I'm teasing.
Joyce Poole would like to know,
Okay.
who or what, however you want to phrase that, was the first group that you saw live?
The very first group I saw live would have been Bob Wills and the Inspirationals when my dad was in Bible college. They came, they had a tent revival. I'll never forget, I can't remember, I used to know his name, but the piano player for that group, if you never saw them, they were fantastic.
See, I honestly have not ever heard of them.
All right, back in the early 60s, I think 63, 64, somewhere in that ballpark, they got started. And believe it or not, were voted favorite quartet in the fan back in that era.
Wow.
Fantastic group. And they came to the tent revival. I'll never forget it. I'm in like the 2nd grade, and the piano player is just tearing it up, and he kicked the bench completely out from under the tent, stood up and just played. It was awesome. Yeah.
I bet that would be, I've not seen anybody do that, so I can only imagine that would be very, very fun for someone.
It was very exciting.
Especially someone the first time experience.
Right.
If something like that to happen, you'd be like, oh, that's unique,
So,
that's cool, that's neat.
Trey Ivy, I'm expecting great things.
All right. Maybe Tim Lovelace. But
Yeah.
Trey,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Trey's
I don't know if he can pull that one off. His name is Jody Smith, and he wants to know if your current position, if you consider this to be your dream job.
Absolutely, yes. Everybody knows George was my hero. The Cathedrals were my favorite group.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched Mark when he first started and all through the career. Always dreamed of, when I was with the Blackwood Brothers, we did a joint thing, Danny Jones host in Carnesville, Georgia. And we were on the program together that night. At the end, they did a finale, and Mark kind of led it. And they had some young punk bass singer with him, Pat, somebody. And he was terrible. And so Mark brought me up to do the finale, and it was great, I might add.
Superb.
And it's superb. But yeah, I'd always dreamed, man, if I ever get to sing with that Mark Trammell dude, I want to do that.
Okay, well, two things I have to go with there.
Okay.
First off, we did get a couple questions, mentioning Pat.
Yes.
People submitting questions.
Yes.
I was wanting to not mention his name, but you brought it up. So since you brought it up, one of the questions was, and I don't remember who submitted this, but one of the questions was, what do you think about Pat Barker's new baritone solo singing career?
Well, if on a good day, thank God for Melodyne and Auto-Tune. They can get him down to those baritone notes, but it's awful. I just don't know how else to describe it.
Well, those of you,
I'm teasing.
These people watching, they've seen the interview with Pat,
Yeah.
so they know that he's a prankster, he's a jokester. You can hardly get a serious moment in with that guy.
Yeah.
And so we enjoy giving it back a little bit when we can. And I know he will be commenting on this video whenever it's released, because he's a troll when it comes to Facebook and stuff. I mean, he's
going to find a way to get his glory in here.
Yes.
But in all sincerity, every time I think of Pat, you're too young to remember this, but I always think of JD, and not because of the singing comparison. Back years ago, JD Sumner had the Stamps Quartet, and he hired a young bass singer to travel with him, along with him, named Richard Sturban, who's now with the Oak Ridge Boys. And boy, that just made national news that here JD, the bass singer, has hired another bass singer. And when I saw that Mark Trammell had hired Pat, I thought, man, how similar is that? Mark, the baritone, has hired another baritone to travel with him. I mean, that is just cool,
Worked out good.
All the lip syncing stuff. Pat can mime or pantomime. What do you call it? Lip syncing. There's another word for it though.
Miming.
Miming. No.
I don't know what
Anyway, he can fake it better than anyone.
we love you, Pat.
I love Pat to death. And truly, I do love his singing. I honestly do.
He is a great singer, and so many people love him, and we do too. So, Connor, I'm not for sure how to pronounce your last name. I'm sorry, man. It's B-O-S-T. How would you boast, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know. This was the second, another part of that question from earlier was the best part about working with Mark Trammell. And I don't know if you kind of maybe touched on it a little bit earlier with your answer, but I don't know if there's another way you want to go with that or another part of that answer there, working with Mark specifically.
Honestly, in all seriousness, the best part about working with Mark is Mark and Nick. I mean that in all sincerity. I've never had a more thoughtful boss in any way, shape, or form. And that's not to disparage any of my other bosses. I've worked with some great people, but I've never been treated better than the both of them. And not just on stage and in the musical side of things, but in day to day. It's just really, I don't have time to really fully describe that, but that's the best part.
Good. And that's where we all want to be.
Yeah.
We all want to be around people that make us better.
Right.
People that understand us. People that look out for each other. And especially when you're, working for somebody, you want someone that cares about you.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's about, you have a relationship with your boss, or you at least want to. You want to know that he cares about you personally.
It makes you want to stay there.
Yeah.
It makes you want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I appreciate about him, Mark is the most humble guy in the world, but he also understands that because of where he's been and the valuable lessons that he learned along the way, that he takes great pride in passing that along. And the word he uses a lot is investing in others, and he really does, and it's priceless to me.
Charlie Sexton wants to know, will we ever see the return of the mullet?
The mullet. Well, it's documented heavily on Facebook. Those were against my wishes, by the way, just for the record. I had a boss that was stuck in the 70s, and he liked that look, and he wrote the paycheck. So, yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie. I was a Baptist preacher's kid in the 70s, and your generation won't get this, but when I was growing up, the Oak Ridge Boys were just getting out into country, and they were rock stars, man. I mean, they were the coolest of cool. And you might even say they were the Legacy Five of their day. Oh my, there you go. But no, seriously, everybody had long hair, but I was an independent Baptist preacher's kid, and we had to keep our hair tapered, which is in style now. But I hated it, because everybody else had long hair. So when I got old enough to leave home, I made up my mind I'm going to grow my hair like Dwayne Allen.
There you go.
And I did. Everybody else had cut it, but I didn't care. I was
did what you wanted.
I did. Yeah.
Mike Weaver wants to know, what was or has been your most embarrassing moment on stage?
I can tell you. We were singing, the Blackwood Brothers were singing in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I don't remember exactly. I used to do the sales pitch, and I don't remember if that was where it was, but it was at some point in the service, I had to come off the stage, and I had bought a new pair of leather shoes with leather soles, and if you've ever walked in those, you know that they can be slick. And I had been teasing this crowd unmercifully about the Cornhuskers being terrible, and I'm from Oklahoma, and that rivalry and stuff. So anyway, it was all in good fun, but when I came off the stage, I fell face first. And so, being true to form, I crawled all the way out the center aisle and out of the auditorium, about a 1,000-seat auditorium. I crawled all the way out. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you really did it.
I did. Well, hey, if you're going to do it big.
Right. That's a good story. I've not heard that one. Bob Ferris wants to know, who is the biggest prankster on your bus?
Mark. He would say me, but it's Mark.
Okay.
We have lots of fun. Let's just put it that way.
I'm just going to trust you. I don't know that I ever want to get on the bus and find out, but I'll trust you guys.
Yeah, it's good.
The last question I have for you is, and guys, there's no Fouch zone this time.
No, that's not going to fly. Come on. You rapid fire and I'm going to answer.
Yeah. See if I can come up with them on the fly as quick as you.
Three questions, quick.
The last question I have for you is this. And to me, this would be a serious question if someone was to ask me this. And you guys are hearing the Booth Brothers sound check. We're here in Branson. I didn't tell you guys this. We're here in Branson at Praise Fest. Booth Brothers just showed up. They're doing their sound check. So we're looking forward to them tonight.
Yeah.
And Mark Trammell Quartet's here. It's going to be a great night. The last question I have is, what would you say to 20-year-old Randy? If you could sit down and talk to him, what's one piece of advice that you feel would be the most important thing you would give yourself?
Focus on being a good singer and stop worrying about low notes. That from a singing standpoint. What I would tell young Randy though is listen more. Don't know everything.
Yeah. But with what you were saying there, it just reminded me of, listen to people. You don't have it all figured out, because at the end of the day, life is going to change. Mm-hmm. Things are going to happen. Things are going to come up. Either you personally, someone in your sphere of influence, someone you're married to, a child. You don't have all the answers. The only one who has the answers is God.
Yeah.
And God doesn't expect us to be perfect, because He loves us no matter what.
Sure.
He just wants us to have a relationship with Him. And if that means we got to listen to other people to figure out, we don't have it all figured out. We need to listen to some people that have been through some trials and been through some things.
Yeah.
To realize, okay, the only person that knows and has it figured out is God.
Man, I wanted to tell you thanks a lot. I enjoyed being here.
Well, thank you for joining me, and thank you guys for listening to us talk. I hope you guys enjoyed these interviews. Once again, be sure to subscribe, sign up for the email list, and I guess the theme of this one I would say is, we don't all have the answers, but there's one who has the answers for you no matter what is going on in your life. It's God. You'll give it to Him, listen, slow down, maybe get some advice from some people and just let him handle it, because he has your best interest at heart and he loves you. So that's my take from the interview today.
My take is we're clueless. God has it.
That's right, exactly. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks, guys.